Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, May 18th or maybe 19th. Hard to tell. Feels like my eyesight's getting worse and worse ever since I lowered the DPI on my monitor. Which that doesn't even make any sense because I'm looking at the date on my phone and I haven't done anything with that. It's May 18th. I just had the phone sideways. We're on the America's account. We need to challenge a friend, and we need to play a bunch of priest cards. So we've got one person who's not doing anything right now that I can do, so I guess maybe the ideal thing to do would be to spectate Noah here, see how close he is to finishing. I have a ton of news and games to talk about. And for the most part, I'm going to try to get them all done, but frankly, at the end of this recording, that's going to be it. I'm just going to go through any parts of the daily quests that I need to do off screen. I'm not going to even do a silent gameplay post-show. And I'm going to just look at games, and if they are amazingly worth mentioning, I will hold them off and talk about them on Monday, but I think for the most part, we're probably not even need to do that. I'm playing Paladin cards, right? Priest cards, make sure we got the right one. I would rename some of these characters, by the way. I would change the priest to a healer, and then you also get rid of some religious aspects, certainly too. I'm not sure how much more news needs to be talked about. Here's a bit of news I'm not sure I really should be talking about is Plague Involved has a new royal update in line with the royal wedding. Plague Involved still giving updates and adding content for people who like that game. I liked it, certainly. I play it on a rare occasion even now, but should I particularly should I particularly continuously report on it for small little updates when there are so many other games that might have small updates that I'm just not catching or reporting on? For instance, No Man's Sky is about to get multiplayer, and that certainly is a weird thing. Let's see, return a friendly minion to your hand, it costs one less. How about we just do this?
Face the light.
There you go. What is this article? Apparently somebody who used to work for Your Gamer now has a Patreon deal for, I think he's probably trying to do documentaries based on games. Like this person, there was already a couple of people who have done similar things. 5 health to a minion and hero. This one won't work. Yeah, so I guess I don't care about that. Yep, there's already one or two people. There's like No Clip and something else that it's funny because some of the people who work in the video game critic industry wanted to be filmmakers, were filmmakers, but kind of failed ones. They have that very much Hollywood aspect of it. They probably did live in California. They probably at some point did want to make movies, and since their life went down the path of covering video games, now they're trying to bridge the gap from being a video game critic, or maybe sometimes just a producer of the film for video game critics. A lot of times it is the producer, the person behind the camera, that wants to get away from doing what they are doing to doing something different. I can't inherently disagree with people wanting to change their jobs. Often it's a very good thing when people want to change their jobs. But also, I kind of don't support the making documentaries. I guess that's the main thing, is documentaries, and I'm probably mispronouncing this that word every time. Don't worry about it. Frankly, aren't a good business model. There's some great ones out there, but the vast majority of them are bad. Nobody wants to watch them, even when they're really good. Most of the time, they're not specifically adding a ton of knowledge or information to people, even when they're really good. And while there is some little secrets and information you can get about the development of video games in a documentary, a lot of it also is just people hanging out with their friends, because video game critics, video game producers of video game critics, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, all of them are way too close and way too friendly with actual game developers. And if you're making a semi-autobiographical or an autobiographical one step removed story to put your friends in a good light, which all video game documentaries for the most part are 100% built around putting the developers of the game in a good light. Like, we're not going to get one about Cliff Brzezinski running his company into the ground. We're going to get one about how valiantly everybody worked to make Lawmakers and Radical Heights. We've got a game here that's a RPG called Cursed Lands. It's tagged RPG, nudity, and sexual content, which is interesting considering how Valve has decided to start censoring and disallowing games for that. One assumes if they continue down their path, they're going to just look at anything that's tagged with sexual content and inherently ban it. This game might not get banned as soon as others because it is a Western style animation of fantasy characters and not the anime characters that have been targeted so far from games that are like 3 years old. The question is, where does that put games like The Witcher or games like House Party? The Witcher 3 is on Steam. As far as this game though, and to not get into a rant, Cursed Lands, looks alright. Some of the characters are intentionally animated poorly, and even the characters that are attempted to be animated well and look good don't look great. Here we go. Wild challenge. Seems like you get to play as a human, elf, half-elf, and dwarf at the beginning. There you go. this RPG looks like it is an old school PC RPG with all the parts, and there's definitely a lot of polish to it. It's just that I don't find the art style visually appealing. $24.99.
The light shall bring victory.
And more like this is Honey Pop, one of the games that is being threatened to being taken down. So I guess the thing here is you should probably buy Honey Pop as soon as possible, but I wouldn't buy it through Steam if Steam has taken it down. I would wait to see what other stores they have it available on. Maybe that's Nutaku, maybe that's somebody else. Wonder if the digital art collection has any nudity in it. And the first recommended review of Honey Pop is talking about Valve threatening to take it off the store front. So Valve has already caused a Streisand effect.
Is someone injured?
Yeah, the digital art collection for Honey Pop seems like it's probably not including in the nudity, but it might be. Hard to tell. The one screenshot they have seems to be just showing up to the line. But that is also a problem with Steam potentially threatening Honey Pop, is because there are different outfits for each of the character, and if they say all the outfits that are bikinis are not acceptable, then that's a problem for a vast majority of games. If they say all the outfits where characters are in their underwear is not acceptable, then that's a smaller group. If they say all the dialogue is the problem, that's a problem. That would be a lot of games too. This is a really good example of just a incident with Steam that needs to be better addressed and covered. So if I go to the community hub and then click screenshots, that was one speculation. Yes, there are definitely incidences of people who have uncensored the game and posted screenshots. That might be the issue, but then I don't know why Valve would be so bad about explaining that or monitoring it.
Quickly.
I mean, wouldn't it just be easier to have a system where you could just not allow community members to upload screenshots at all? They made me click and say I was over 18 to even reach the screenshot section. So is it really even a problem? If anything, I'd say the game creators should be more upset with the fact that people are uploading screenshots of Honey Pop, because that's the only content that the game sells on. It's full of spoilers, for lack of a better term.
A mistake.
course, I'm wasting time on that. Let's see.
Blessings to you.
It's also artwork. Which is, I guess artwork is supposed to be different from screenshots, broadcasts. And videos. Apparently people post random videos. News. The really crazy thing is I am fairly certain Valve has specifically sold Honey Pop on its front store. Like, they've done sales and ads for it. So it's not like they didn't know this game existed. I need to quit talking about Honey Pop though. That is really annoying though. Really annoying to, much like how YouTube just moves the goalposts and changes things. Censorship on every single platform is just getting worse and worse. And this, we're gonna have to start thinking about actually creating a whole new internet.
No walls can hold me.
Job's done.
And then I heard somebody make a very interesting argument that as soon as you get blocked or censored on something like Twitter and you go look for a free speech alternative to Twitter, you're gonna end up on some other site that is probably full of downright racist, sexist hate speech, like full-on Nazi propaganda, literal pro-Nazi propaganda. And so getting censored or silenced for a small thing that very well may be pushing a lot of people right into the alternative alt-right media, because the progressive, or as some people call it, regressive liberals have become so censor happy now that they're pushing out moderate people and other people. I just need to play a few more priest cards, so can't really get into a political rant here. There's a game called Changeover Decisions. It's a visual novel, Western visual novel, I would say, action adventure. It doesn't look great. Let's see, $2.99. I bet no. There's 4 positive reviews, which doesn't really mean anything. Hey, wait. Let's not play wild. Let's play ranked standard. The animation style for crossover decisions is just not good enough, frankly. It's a high school level of drawing. It's from a developer who's made several other games that are all positively reviewed, but for my instance at least, I'm gonna close that. Gametsu has an article. Cat's Quest 2, The Lupus Empire, has been announced for PS4, Switch, and PC. A reveal trailer is coming soon. So, article news about news that is coming. The original Cat's Quest is available for PS4, Switch, and PC. Another game I'd like to play and haven't gotten around to it. Let's see. What's this one?
Greetings, friend.
Looks slightly interesting. It's called Aqua Lungers. Early access action indie racing game. It seems like you play as a fish or something. or some kind of creature that can both swim and walk on land, I guess. I have no idea what I'm looking at, but it looks like it's multiplayer only, so it's multiplayer only, early access, 30% off for $5.59. I bet not too many reviews. There's one positive review and that's it. And I can't make heads or tails on what you're really trying to accomplish in the game, and so it makes it impossible to make the decision that you want to actually play it. They say it's a fast-paced a split-screen platformer where all 4 players complete to collect treasure in dangerous locations guarded by savage creatures. Yeah, that doesn't sound particularly interesting. Let's see. The next game is a game called Chicken Boiled Egg, which for the most part looks like a box pushing game, and so you already kind of know it's not going to be the highest of quality to begin with. Let's see, 15% off for $6.79. It seems to be all written in Japanese, and the updates, no reviews. Like, the translation into English is not translated right. Yes, this just looks like a Japanese low quality game. Sorry to say, with some asset flips in it. And so we'll close that tab.
It's harvest time.
Reap
what you sow.
Next game we have is called Conjury of Nature. It looks like a VR game where you're standing in one place and a bunch of skeletons are walking towards you. That's what it is. 15% off for $4.24. 2 mini games like that. So close that. Next game we have is called Wrecking Towers. Action casual game. It looks a little bit like Rampage, but I don't think that's really what it is, as much as it is a fighting game where the main characters are actually
what you sow.
It's a 2D brawl party game featuring local multiplayer up to 4 players, so I couldn't play it anyways. People hanging from the sky and destroying the towers that are on the left and right of the screen. I wish they would just make a good Rampage game. Let's see. Gamasutra has an article, Rovio sees profits rise amid strong revenues from Angry Birds 2. Which, okay, that's a little surprising they're still making money from Angry Birds 2. Again, that's a financial story, so we don't need to get into the details. Next game we have on Steam is called Cartoon Way Mini Cars. Seems like you're drawing cars? Or was that just for the trailer? It's probably just for the trailer. It feels like it's an infinite runner, except for you driving cars. So let's see what this developer's also made.
Let's crash this party.
Let's see, they made 4 other games, none of which have been gotten enough reviews to say anything. There's nothing interesting about this game. They want $6.99 for it. That's another skip in my book. I do feel like my tolerance for mediocre and low quality games is lower as I try to wrap up than it is at the beginning of a stream, where I very possibly would give some games a double look.
mistake.
Okay. Zoom in more. Deal 8 damage to a minion. If it kills it, add a copy to your hand. There we go.
I foresaw this. That was a mistake. I should beat you. Break yourself upon my body.
I'm reading an article now, updated on the honeypot and Steam censoring dating games scandal, which this is gonna end up being a gate, almost certainly. There is a slight possibility that the notifications they got aren't even from Valve. That would be crazy.
That didn't go as
But I seriously figure Valve would get back to them if that was the case.
Greetings, friends.
Just keep on playing. 16 more priest cards need to be played. It'd be nice if I get a victory. Apparently, Top Hat Studios just preemptively stripped out and censored themselves for their game Karma Sutra.
Smiles upon the just.
Gotta keep playing Hearthstone too. And they've got like Tech Raptors, the article I'm reading right now, and they've got like 4 updates on it. One of these responses, the Darker Studios, DHARKER, says they got an email from somebody who was not their normal Valve representative. That doesn't inherently mean it's not from somebody from Valve, though. Update 4 as the situation continues to evolve. 2 more games have been sent similar letters. That would be Ray Lord 1 and Winter Wolves. I haven't heard of most of these games.
Face the light.
Keep on playing, keep on playing. Oh man, this story is getting a lot of coverage really fast. Let's see, Gamma Sutra has weekly jobs roundup for Fox Next and Telltale and more. Let's see. Oath, OATH wants a principal engineer. Telltale wants a video FX artist. Phosphor Studios wants a QA contractor. And Fox Next wants an executive producer of external development indie games. Skydance Interactive wants a head of community development also. So jump through those job listings. I'm not sure I should bother to read any of them. Keep on playing. Next game we have on Steam is called Imperialism: The Dark Continent. I'm not sure I particularly would want to play a game called Imperialism: The Dark Continent, just for the fact that they're calling it the Dark Continent. Looks like it's a board game covering historical facts, at least somewhat respectfully. Doesn't look like it's an extremely interesting board game. It says it's early access for $7.99. It has no reviews. So the only thing that would save a game like this and get it to my wish list so I would even look at it later is if it was from a developer who's made a bunch of really good previous products. And looking at what they've developed, they have about 10 games, none of which have gotten any reviews, and frankly they've been just flooding the Steam market for a month or two, and their games are all kind of random and none of them look that great. So close that tab. I don't know if I talked about it, but No Man's Sky is adding multiplayer in July. I'm kind of happy to see that they're still putting content in No Man's Sky, but I'm also wondering if they just kind of have to avoid getting sued. At the end of the day, there's still I don't think they're going to have a good yeah, they're just not going to have a great beloved game in No Man's Sky. I couldn't play it today and feel like I was still like it was worth it any more than I could have played it when it first came out and felt like it was worth it. See, PC Gamer has an article, Roundup Outlaws with your posse as your and your dog in Boot Hill Bounties. This is probably a, for the most part, advertisement. This doesn't look like much of a game. I don't like the art style for what they're trying to do. Looks like a Western version of a JRPG. If you combined all the bad aspects of a JRPG with all the bad aspects of a poor Western Western games. And see, this is weird because this is, when I look at it on Steam, it's positive, 86 out of 43 users, and it came out October 10th, 2014. I think a lot of that probably comes straight down to the fact that in its initial release in 2014, this probably would have been a good game, but nowadays I don't really trust it. It's actually the sequel. Boot Hill Bounties is, I guess, the sequel to Boot Hill Heroes, which is positively reviewed. I don't like the way either one of them look though, so I'm just gonna close it. Sometimes you just have to make a decision for yourself.
Let's crash this party.
Try to close more of these tabs. Ultimate Sudoku Collection is on Steam. It's a one-screen Sudoku game. We've seen many of these before, so there's really nothing new to say. It doesn't look great. Next game we have is called Bunker Rush. I'm fairly certain it's an asset flip game with survival simulation elements. But more and more I try not to say it's an asset flip. I just boil it down to what I can actually prove or what is subjective, which is to say it doesn't look good, and Bunker Rush doesn't look good, so close it. Poor 3D graphics. Next game we have is called Dinosaurs Prehistoric Survivors. Again, same sentence as I said before. It just doesn't look good. And these games need to look good if they want me to play them. Next game we have is called Bullet Hell Advanced. I don't play Bullet Hell games. This one doesn't look too bad. Early access $2.99. But it's a 3D Bullet Hell game when most Bullet Hell games are 2D flat. And it's the first game from this developer. So while it is pretty, I'm not seeing enough variety in the trailer, and the color palette seems to be pretty bland too. I don't think it's got the gameplay. Deal 4. Next game we have is called Stretch. It looks like garbage, so I'm going to close that. I'm trying to look at this game. This game doesn't look good, so I'm not going to even mention it. It's free, I guess. Control CV, as in control copy. Control C to copy, Control V to paste, is for free. It looks like it's probably at free. Maybe you'd want to look at it, but I doubt even at that. So I'm gonna just move on. Keep on playing. Next game we have is called Forest Below. It seems to be a kind of tree growing simulator, plant simulator, where you're guiding the roots to pockets of water and nutrients. Certainly a unique concept. It's free. It has no reviews, but it's visually appealing. It's a unique concept. So there you go. Rare occasion, but The Forest Below. Free game. Can't complain about it. Looks like it is worth checking out. Of course, that is in effect my review for a free game too. I'm not going to make a whole series on my channel to tell people to go play something that they could just have played for themselves and found out. Game Master has an article: competitive sports game Super Sport Matchin' launches for Switch, PC, and PC on May 24th. Super Sport Matchin'. Seems like it's cutesy 8-bit characters playing sports games of some sort. Basketball's the one I see so far. It seems like this is the equivalent of some of those NES Olympics games.
Not too quickly.
Interesting. I imagine, since this is a Japanese company that's launching this, I imagine since Japan is going to host the Olympics, that we would see a lot more interest in all sports,
Face the light.
very possibly. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few years you see a drastic spike in sports-based games for the Olympics. Let's see. Kimetsu has an article. Fire Emblem Heroes adds Bridal Bloom Heroes Ninani, Nin-Ian, Sanaki, and Tharja. So some more characters to that game. Let's see, close that. There's a game on Steam called Drift 4000. It's not visually appealing, so I'm gonna close the tab. Lifesteal Rush for one. Guess I have to do that. Let's see. There's a game called School Jump. That's a VR game where you're walking around in VR. And then you can also jump off the school roof whenever you like it. Which it does actually do damage to you when you jump off the school. Like little blobs of red appear. So I don't see a real reason why you would make a Japanese suicide simulator. That seems inappropriate and wrong, and just a bad business practice in general. Particularly since it's VR. It's 99 cents. It's clearly a meme game.
You are the Shadow's puppet.
So let's just close that. YouTube news. YouTube has given up on YouTube Red, sort of, and then splitting it into YouTube Music and YouTube Premium. So what effectively this means is if you were paying I think it was $9.99 in the United States for YouTube Red to get YouTube Music, free streaming, and all that was with that, and no commercials and access to the YouTube Red content. Well, now you have to go to YouTube Premium and pay $11.99. So they've effectively raised the price for that, if you want that. If you just want to keep YouTube Music, which is now going to be its own separate service, now you're going to have to pay $9.99. So they're raising the price on both and separating them out in a very confusing way. Inherently, this is more of what YouTube does, is that they seem to always very consistently want to charge more and more money and focus people's attention more and more towards the largest of content creators. So YouTube Music is clearly there for the big music industry, and YouTube Red was always there to give money to big content creators, like Kevin Hart, for example. There's also YouTube TV, which is its own third thing that just confuses it even more. But once again, YouTube is not doing anything nice for actual content creators. In fact, they're doing something even worse. They are going to start deleting the original videos of that people upload. So effectively, anything, if we ever get to a 4K, 8K streaming, or anything higher, 16K, 32K streaming on YouTube, they won't have the originals to upscale the old content on YouTube. So if I upload my video at 1080p, it will always be at 1080p, and if I upload my video at 8K, it would always be at 8K. But if I uploaded my video at 16K, well, YouTube's gonna decompress that down to 8K and throw away the original to save themselves some hard drive space, which is funny because then they're also saying we're gonna keep the originals if you click a box and put it on your Google Drive. So then the question becomes, is Google Drive unlimited? I didn't think it was. And even one video, if Google Drive isn't unlimited, would be probably a ridiculously expensive amount of money, let alone real content creators like me who have gigabytes and gigabytes. Like one video, one 45-minute to an hour video might be 5-6 gigabytes of space. I can definitely not afford to keep that, and I can't afford the hard drive space to keep things either. So this is yet another attempt or another move that's going to make it harder for content creators to make content. I guess my one saving grace might be that by the time they get around to implementing this new system, I may have moved all of my videos over to Twitch, but I'm not sure Twitch is keeping those videos, and I'm not sure they're keeping them in the highest content anyways. So it's still very possible that I'm just going to lose original qualities of videos, and whatever YouTube keeps is whatever YouTube keeps. Like, YouTube is really doing everything it seems like it can to irritate its content creators and ruin the service. And Alphabet, their parent company, Google, their parent company, needs to step in, needs to put in new management, needs to take the company in a different direction. It's just that simple. I'm looking at a game called Midnight Quest. It's a point-and-click adventure. It's animated nicely. It's got a cartoony art style to it. And for that reason alone, I'm going to wishlist this game. It's 10% off for $3.59. It has 6 reviews right now. It's the first game from this developer, but it looks like it's decent quality, and since I'm a sucker for point clicks, I'll keep it. Here's a VR game called TSA Frisky that I believe is just a VR game, joke game. Looks like for the most part it is a real game. 10% off for $13.49. Let's see the 2 positive reviews on it. So it's a comedic game, I would say, not actually a game that is only in existence to be a joke. And it's kind of hard to maintain a difference there. Alright.
I foresaw this.
Do this. Heal this. And let's do this. That didn't work. But since TSA Frisky is a VR game, I can just close it. Let's see. Hearthstone's talking about its balance changes. I've already talked about them that are coming out. It's, yeah, nothing new has been announced from the last time I talked about them. You can certainly look up Hearthstone if that's what interests you. Okay, here's a game called Jet Racing Extreme, the first encounter. Says it's for iOS and Android with gyro control on the screenshot, which tells me that this is a cell phone port. Now inherently this doesn't look bad at all, but I'm not sure I want to play a cell phone port. It's 50% off for $1.99, and there's a decent number of negative reviews. Here's one. This game is still in early access for more than 2 years. For 2 years, 6 months to be exact. Wow. I don't think we need to buy a game that was in early access for that long. Even if it is rated mostly popular. The rating system on Steam is busted. It clearly is.
Awaken, my children.
I foresaw this.
Let's see. Do I want to kill this character?
Job's done.
Next game we have on Steam is called The House of Fate Morgana, a Requiem for Innocence, adventure visual novel, story rich. Looks slightly interesting in the trailer, but then the art style is looking a little iffy in the actual game. Not sure I trust the art style here. Let's see. How much do they want? They want 10% off for $13.49. There are 3 reviews, 4 reviews, all positive. Boy, is the other guy taking his sweet time. They certainly made an effort to make a trailer, so they're really trying to sell this visual novel a lot more than most visual novels are. Generally speaking, it's some screenshots, that's about it, one fancy thumbnail at most. So to see somebody step up their game is slightly interesting, but they're definitely not showing a they're not showing examples of gameplay or anything.
I foresaw this.
Let's go ahead and kill this character.
Be gone!
Job's done.
Must move quickly.
Well, the developer of House of Fate Morgana also made House of Fate Morgana, which is 97% positive. So the Requiem is just a continuation of that. It's in English, Japanese, and Russian. Let's...
No walls can hold me.
And kill that. Kill that.
I foresaw this.
Let's without winning.
Quickly.
The publisher for House of Fate Morgana Requiem is Mana Gamer, known for publishing quite a good collection. So, as far as visual novels go, I think House of Fate Morgana and House of Fate Morgana Requiem for Innocence seems like they are good ones if you want to play visual novels. I spent way too much time on this game though, so let's move on. Trying to get as many as possible covered. Here we have a game called Sphoxie? S-P-H-O-X-I-E. It's very singular in color. It feels like it's an asset flip game. 15% off for $3.39. Let's play for real. Just play a secrets game here for a second. No reviews on Sphoxie. Yeah, it doesn't really look good enough. There's a game called Corruption. It's a ugly looking like brawler game. So I'm gonna close that. I just wanted to mention that they are still flooding Steam with Trivia Vault games that always look hideous. So we mentioned that. There's one called Cowboy Attack of the Wild Animal, and the animation looks really good. At least in the cutscene it did. Seems like you're running around punching and attacking almost in a Dynasty Warriors-esque way. You're fighting each other, but also wrangling up animals, I think. It says single player only, which seems a little weird. Third party EULA, $7.99, and 6 positive reviews. Another great example of a game that looks like it has polish, but when you start digging down into it, it doesn't seem like it's as good as it is on first impressions. So yeah, I'd say skip Cowboy Attack of the Wild Animal. Was it still it's my turn again? Let's keep playing. Let's see. There's a game called Future Proof, which seems to be kind of a puzzle RPG story-based time travel thing where you're trying to avoid losing and future-proofing your life, I think is the idea. $6.99. Let's see if there's any reviews as I'll play.
To my side.
Let's see. 4 positive reviews, that's not enough. No discount, $6.99, and the graphics don't look appealing, so if this is a hidden gem, which it might be, but I seriously doubt it, it's just not good enough to catch my attention. First game from the developer. Next game we have is called Taco Gun. Yeah, the art style is just not good enough, so I'm gonna skip that one too.
I wonder.
I skip a lot of games these days, don't I? But that's the whole point too, is to go through these games kind of quickly and just be very flippant about judging books by the cover. Next game is called Civitatum. It doesn't look good enough. It's a medieval city builder. We already closed that one for not looking good enough. Pretty sure. We already did that one. We don't need to talk about that. I'm getting close to the point. Very, very close to the point of being done. There's a game called Pinball 2018. It looks like total garbage on Steam. Super GTR Racing doesn't look good either, so let's close that. The game To the Moon, which is a RPG Maker game that I was kind of never willing to play, is going to be put into an animation because I hear the story's good and a lot of people seem to love that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of incidences where a game would be much better off as an animation instead of the game. And so this is yet another incident in which I think they may have found a better media for their art. So congratulations to them. I still probably won't play To the Moon. There's a game on Steam called Balloon Striker that looks like garbage. Close that. Josh Sawyer, who is the director of Pillars of Eternity, I guess, and he said he's going to be taking a break from directing once Pillar of Eternity 2 is done. So, thanks for that information, I guess. Doesn't really mean too much to me, but I guess better to have the information than not. There's a game on Steam called Snake. It's terrible. There's a game called Telegram Clicker that's looks like it's from the same developer who flooded Steam with several other games in the past couple days. There's a game called Super Olympic Runners, which might be an infinite runner. Is it in VR? No, it's an early access game for $13.99. It looks like it's a first-person perspective, which would, I imagine, cause motion sickness. First game from this developer. I don't think so, though. Any kind of infinite runner game is probably not. I'm not too interested in. Let's do this. And do this. And do this.
Quickly.
This. This. Attack. Return. TechRaptor did a video / article called "Is Damsel Worth Playing?" They got, it seems like, early access to the game, and then they actually said they didn't particularly like it, interestingly enough, which puts TechRaptor a lot higher than a lot of other people. Because so often we see only positive articles about games, only positive coverage. For them to even be slightly critical and actually do their jobs as video game critics is kind of amazing, and it means I'm going to stick with Tech Raptor. I was iffy up until this point. As for the game Damsel, right now it's 100% at 11 user reviews. It's early access. It's $9.99. I don't think it right now is worth playing. It might be worth playing in the future, so I would say wait for more information. Let's do one more game and keep pushing it. There's a game called Mirror Drop that's no ugly. Rock Paper Shotgun has best PC gaming deals of the week. All kinds of deals going on right now. Steam Summer Sale is supposed to happen mid-July, I believe. So, a lot of deals also coming up for that. Steam has a game called Creepy Road. What kind of game is this? Seems like a brawler or shooter or kind of a combination of a bunch of things. Bullet hell action comedy game is what it's being described as. Seems like you play as a redneck going against a bunch of other people. Not sure I trust this developer enough to give him $6.99 with it being 10% off. It does kind of have the creepy in it, but I'm just not sure. It's not labeled as early access, so this one looks weird enough, this game Creepy Road, to put on my wish list, and we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and play this. Gamasutra has an article, quote, "We can launch games whenever we're ready and whenever we want," says Guillemot. Ubisoft hasn't shied away from delaying games when a company believes that they could use some more time. So the Ubisoft person says we can launch games whenever we're ready and whenever we want, which is great. They couldn't do that when they were on the verge of getting acquired by Viacom, certainly. Let's play that. We have a game called Pio Poo Poo, that's P-I-O-P-U-P-U. It's a sexual content RPG indie casual nudity game. Is it a visual novel or is this some other kind of game? Main character is a blonde girl with bunny ears. I'm trying to see actual gameplay elements in this, and none of the screenshots aren't really showing me any. So I'm wondering, are there any, or is this just a groping simulator? It seems like it might be 100% a groping simulator. Wandering monster. Attack. It's actually, no, it's one of those games where you draw a square and the square cuts out some of the image, and there's like, I think probably something more to it than that. Anyways, this game is it's a collection of 3 small games. Play hamster, cut map, and flop. So one's a card game, one's the cut the map one that I was talking about, and one of them is flop, which is a card game of some sort. They didn't even bother to show them. Interesting instructions on how to unlock achievements on this. But this game doesn't even say it has achievements. And see, it's Japanese full audio for this game, but traditional Chinese for the interface and subtitles in English. So it'll be interesting to see if this game stays on Steam. It came out May 18th. So again, the whole Steam censorship thing seems like it's going in a weird direction. A really, really weird direction. If the new games can exist but the old games get kicked off. Well, the good news is, as I slowly meander through this will be done for the day. There's a game called Tesla the Weatherman. It's $2.99 and it's just not visually appealing enough. And it has like one positive list, not even in English. One positive review. Yeah, it's just ugly. Too ugly to play.
To my side.
Do this. This. I read the article from Gamma Sutra, how we increased the review score from mid-60s to 80s, and was it worth it? It was a developer who made a game, what was the name of the game? They made a game, they released it, and then it didn't work well, so they, the game was called Earthlock, so instead of working to the, to make a sequel, they spent extra time and extra money to remake the game and make a better, slightly better version, new version, old version. And it got a lot better reviews and it was a better launch. Now, this article doesn't really talk about whether they made their money back by doing that, but it probably made the company a much better name. So I can't really disagree with the concept of making better quality products and even going back and retrying on incidences where the game suffers a little bit for its quality. Alright, so I'm on the Humble Bundle store. As far as bundles go, the hooked up multiplayer bundle is, I think, the newest games bundle. There's a cosplay 2.0 bundle. What is, like, selling for dummies and a bunch of ebooks, prop making, things like that. Suppose if you're into cosplay, that might help you a little bit. Then that means I can go back to Twitter, and this will be our last game. The question will just really come down to is there any new news that I really need to talk about before we wrap this up? Of course, inherently there will be new games, and I am almost certainly going to filter out some of the games from Monday and make sure I'm not just looking at everything. Let's see. 4 damage. Don't really need to do that. Orange Games picks up a majority stake of Hobo Dev Suwake. Haven't heard of any of those. It's not Hobo Dev, it's HABBO is the name of the game. Let's see, deal 4 damage. Deal 4 damage. Then do that and win. Lewd Apocalypse. That's what it should be called. It should be called the Lewd Apocalypse, since that's my general favorite term. For this is continuing to get reported on, and this is really like release the information on a Friday and cause the. By the time we get to Monday, people won't even remember the story. I bet. We've done everything, so let's continue to scroll down and scroll. See if there's anything else besides the Lewd Apocalypse of Valve to talk about or mention. Scrolling, I'm looking, not seeing too much. Let's see. 1 hour ago, Peg episode 4. I didn't even know I'd made 4 episodes of Peg aired on my channel. We can talk about that, I guess. It's a Peg game. I liked it so well. Eventually, though, there was nothing more to really say about it, so I ended the series before I finished it. In fact, I still haven't actually done all the puzzles on Peg because once I stopped recording footage, it fell to the back burner. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is coming only to Battle.net. That's one thing that I failed to mention in this entire stream today. So you can pretty much assume all Activision Blizzard games going forward are only coming to Battle.net, which also means, I guess, that people, at least big publishers, feel like they can get away with doing that and they won't lose sales. 2 hours ago, Star Wars: The Clone Wars Republic Heroes #7 aired. Played all the way through that. Not video game related, but they're making some more Lego Harry Potter sets. The train is a good one. I think I might end up picking that up. Wild Guns Reloaded developer working on a second remake project. Well, did Wild Guns Reloaded work? Or was it a disappointment? That's an interesting question that I don't know the answer to. Blade Strangers continues to introduce characters. In a weird way, I'll be very surprised if it turns out that Blade Strangers actually turns out to be the new Smash for PC. I don't even have to go back too far because we haven't been streaming that long. down, scroll down, scroll down. You know, when I get to this point, I need to scroll down pretty fast on the browser anyways, so I couldn't be playing a game too much. I could do some of that, but it's easier just to sit here and do nothing. And this is sort of what E3 will be like, I imagine. That's my plan right now, at least, is to just let the video from E3 stream and talk over it, and I'll be browsing web pages and potentially making notes. Let's see, 4 hours ago. I think I've hit the point where I can't see any more new content. Yes, I do believe that is the case. So we're good to wrap up. So I don't really feel like it's super beneficial for the fans and the viewers, at least, for me to start early when I stream. It just kind of makes it even easier for me to end early and then just start my weekend, I suppose. If I give myself a weekend and don't work throughout it, which is usually what I do, is try and work or think about working at least. Anyways, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. When you subscribe, please click the notification bell. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below in the description box. I've been thinking about a replacement for Twitter, but I don't know what that would really be. So maybe I'll take some suggestions there. Twitter, honestly, it feels like the only reason I use Twitter is to hear advertisements and news articles about video games. So for other people who are on Twitter, they're probably just seeing a bunch of advertisements and news articles that are advertisements too. And it just doesn't really have a feeling like it's a community of any real sort. The other thing you can do to support me definitely is gift me a game on Steam, get a code from Humble Bundle and direct message it to me on Twitter for now. Works too, or gift me a Steam gift card. That way I have more capital to use when the next summer sale or winter sale happens. That's it. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.